All right, so we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Had some issues with server I use, but yeah, I don't know. I think that kind of concludes the hunter discussion. We didn't really have that much more to say to it, but why don't we go into some Q&A, viewer Q&A with you guys, and we'll just go over to the Reddit thread and ask some of the questions that you guys have posted. Again, I'm just gonna sort by top, and whatever comes up is what I'm gonna ask here. So here we go. We'll go into the thread, and we'll take some sub questions too. So we'll kind of alternate sub question and then something from Reddit. So give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Akodo asks, "What do you feel life coach's mid-range hunter exploded on the ladder? Why do you feel that life coach's mid-range hunters exploded on the ladder, where the burn cycle hunters were so prevalent, almost nullifying that style, even if the common cycle counters it pretty hard?" So I guess yeah. So yeah, I guess the question is why do you think that it's
Um,
the upgrades happen? I guess with the hunter deck.
the cycle deck was really good, but it did not beat warrior or druid. So I mean, the new deck does. That's like the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing is that the cycle hunter deck wasn't actually ever that common. It was even after I played the deck on stream, a lot of people prefer to play the like Animal Companion one and stuff. Nobody ever really had. Very few people adopted Argent Squire, like Loot Hoarder, like the whole like the first thing that Gara was playing in EU. Um, so yeah, it you saw more Animal Companion and Arcane Golem and stuff on NA, and yeah, that's like the big reason. If people were playing Cycle Hunter, I think like the Life Coach deck would have a lot harder time adapting because I think Cycle destroys it. But you know,
Okay.
I mean, it's like the new deck is just better too. It's just better matchups. It's better in the hard matchups.
Yeah. Trump, any comments on that?
A simple answer. Kalento posted real. I know the question is on Life Coach, but I actually want to say Kalento instead really popularized them because he hit rank one North America and Europe very recently, and it's been publicized. And
In 140 games.
exactly, big props
Wow.
to him.
I
Good deck.
mean,
It's
Yeah, that's
a
awesome.
great example of a good player leading a new deck, and that's the way to sort of break everything.
yeah, exactly. And then posting on Reddit, of course. Lara Wood asks, okay, so a subscriber question: Does the fact that does them fact that Deadly Shot is viable mean that there could be still room for Tinkmaster? Uh, I don't. Okay, so I guess is Tinkmaster relevant in any way or in any of these decks? Reynad.
It just gives them something to Houndmaster. I don't know. Probably not. It's a sketchy card. Like I play it in Zoo occasionally, as like another
True.
Shattered Sun player, but
Oh
I
yeah, that
don't know.
is a beast. I forgot about that. That is extra. That could be extra bad. Um, Trump, Tinkmaster.
I hadn't actually considered Tinkmaster and Zoo. That's a pretty good idea. Or a pretty cool idea. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
not a good idea. And the thing about Deadly Shot versus Tinkmaster is when you're playing this version of Hunter, you'll usually have minions on the board, which
Yeah.
you may or may not want Tinkmastered.
Okay. Let's see. Stabstone asks, is that MC Tech Baron Geddon Deathwing really good against Zoo for some time as a ramp druid?
Uh, okay, if you're playing Ramp Druid, one Starfall is usually enough, but you can't like I think the first Baron like Baron Geddon's better than the second Starfall. And yeah, they're good against Zoo, but I think if you're playing Ramp Druid, you just kind of got to give up on this. Just I don't think it's beatable, honestly, if you're playing Ramp Druid.
Yeah, it's really really tough. Trump, thoughts?
Well, you've listed two cards that are good against Zoo, MC Tech and Baron Geddon. Deathwing is not good against Zoo, though. But if you wanted to, I mean, I don't think you should ever just say, oh, okay, give up this matchup, because that's where innovation comes in. It's like, where would Kaleno be if he was like, oh, I'm playing a hunter, I'm just going to give up against warrior? No, he said, no, I'm not going to lose to your stupid war. I'm going to play this River Crocolisk. I'm going to Houndmaster. I'm going to beat your face in. So, innovation, yeah.
Innovation. That's right. That's right.
But yeah, that's good direction to look. Like, if you wanted to crush Zoo, MC Tech's a good place to look at, and Baron Geddon, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, MC Tech. I've used it a few times too. definitely great against Zoo. I'm gonna switch. Let's see. I'll give subs one last time. I'm gonna go back to the Reddit, and we'll ask one question, then come back to subs. If there's no more questions, then we'll flip off after that. Let's see. Blizzard said so. The Arch or the Arc asks. Blizzard said that they plan on handling future nerfs with new cards to change the meta, with each class getting a new class card in Noxramas. What are some cards you'd like to see for each class to patch these glaring weaknesses of the current meta? Would you like to see neutral cards to counter specific strategies, a reverse knife juggler to counter UTH or neutral flare? Well, we kind of talk about this a lot, but anything after seeing some of the new cards? Any thoughts?
I hope the spells are cool. All I've really seen is creatures. I
Yeah.
hope Priest and Mage get a buff, because Mage was one of my favorite classes for a very long time, and I just miss playing it because it's just exceptionally mediocre right now. So I hope they give it some good cards, and yeah, Warlock and Hunter don't need much more.
Yeah. Trump?
Yeah, I mean, a good way of doing it is just buffing the classes that seem underrepresented in the current meta, by putting in good cards for those classes and like not giving as much love as the others for
Yeah.
the others. That's all.
All right.
Or specifically countering cards like the Arch suggested, such as the reverse knife juggler.
Oh, I love the reverse knife juggler. That's really cool. All right, unleashing the hounds here. Subscriber mode off. Should be let me see. Should be subscriber mode off here. Yeah, there we go. Subscriber mode off. Okay, so we continue with the Reddit questions here. Balthazar asks, "What do you think is the main thing keeping Paladin from being a top pick?" Trump.
I'd say it's their lack of early game.
Yeah, I think so too.
A lot of the Paladin cards get a lot better when you have just one minion on the board will make a lot of your cards better. Like then you can Argent Protector it, you can Blessing of Kings it. But the trick is getting that one minion on the board. So the game starts as early as turn 1, especially with all this Zoo now. And you usually pass turn 1 or you play like Noble Sacrifice or something, and then turn 2 you don't really have anything secure. So it's too slow out of the gates, I guess, is the main problem.
Reynad?
I think the thing that stops Paladin from being a popular deck is the same thing that stops any deck from being played, which is the other classes just do what it tries to do better. Like there's two ways to build Paladin. You can build it as an aggressive deck or as a control deck. And the aggressive deck is inconsistent because it relies on drawing Divine Favor, so it's just worse than Zoo. Also, its creatures are just worse than Zoo. And its hero power is just worse than Zoo. And then if you build it controlling, it's generally a bad warrior control deck or a bad druid deck. Like you can choose which class you want to be a bad version of, and that's basically what Paladin is right now. I agree with Trump. I think it just needs like a good 2-drop so that you can play Argent Protector more lively. That's probably what I would give it. Maybe like a 2/3 for 2 that, I don't know, gains you. Maybe if he comes in with his own bubble or something. Maybe it's too good.
Yeah, I mean, I think I generally agree with you. I've been playing a lot of Paladin lately, just to try it out and how it does against Zoo and the Hunter and that sort of thing. And I've had some success with it. I mean, my thoughts are kind of similar to Trump's. I think, those first 3 turns are so hard with the Paladin. I mean, a lot of times I'm playing the control Paladin for the most part, so it's a lot of the comments are based on that. Most of the time, I'm throwing out an Earth and Farseer without healing anything, right? Or you're sitting there on an Aldor and you can't do anything with it. So it's pretty much like hero powering twice, in the first 3 turns, which isn't very strong against most things. Really bad against even classes like Hunter, right? That can benefit from your 1/1 guy being on the board. So a 2-drop would be really, really nice. That's not one of the neutral ones right now, I think. But Paladin's not that far off. I mean, it's arguably one of the best classes that can clear the board. Quality is one of the. I mean, you've got two equalities. Usually have 4 things that go with equalities to clear the board, and it clears anything, right? It clears giants or it clears Zoo units. So it's got a lot of great elements that some of the other classes don't have. And it's got one of the best weapons too in the True Silver. So it's close. I think it's really close. But aggro-wise, I think there's just so many better options. Pretty tough. Let's see. Next up, we got Quickstall. Any suggestions on climbing the ladder between rank 5 and legend specifically? Each of you guys are experts at this. So,
It's
Reynad,
like
let you go first.
yeah, just like pay attention to patterns and play the deck that like I mean, usually there's a pattern for a day, like a huge amount of the field is playing Druid or something.
Yeah.
You just want to switch the deck that counters that and yeah, I mean, don't stick with it for like 5 or 6 games at least. I wouldn't just switch every game you lose. That's a pretty bad habit to get into, but
Yeah.
yeah, just like pay attention to what other people are playing and try to beat it and make sure you understand your own deck. The important thing is just play a lot of games too.
Yeah. Trump.
The thing about playing like 6 games to get a feel for a pattern is I feel like that's somewhat flawed. I mean, to some extent it's not, but you yourself see a very small sample of what's actually going on. I think more importantly is, and that's why rank 5 to 1 is hard as opposed to say like rank 10 to 5 or something. You need to sharpen play and just try to make the most out of everything. There's something called the invisible play where you wouldn't see it if you weren't better. Like there's a play where you can save a health on something or do an extra damage to the opponent. And like if you're just overlooking it, it's easy to overlook. But if you really pay attention, hunker down, you might be able to do that extra 1 damage, save that 1 health, draw an extra card or something.
Mm-hmm.
Don't play a card to die. That's the small edges that make you win games.
Yeah. I'd also throw into that between rank 5 and legend, the like the majority of the decks that you'll see is going to be a lot different than what you've what you've kind of been playing up to that point. So be ready to adjust, and maybe even play a different style just moving forward after that. Let's see. Next up, we got Pink Punky Blue. I am interested in meta. How, but know a little about it. Can you explain why? Okay, so can you explain why it's difficult to craft a single deck that beats both the Zoo and the Hunter deck right now? We kind of talked about the Magic, the Magic deck being that, but why is it so hard? I guess.
Everything has to have a weakness. If there was a deck that beat everything, then people would just be complaining about that instead. So, yeah, I mean, I think Druid is positive against both, like Watcher Druid, so you can start there. But yeah, that's just why it's difficult, is because you're trying to beat 2 different decks with 2 different plans. They're weak to 2 different things, basically.
Trump, yeah, like digging into maybe more of the details as to what's strong with them and why it's hard. Any comments on that? On why it's so hard to build a deck that does well against both?
I sort of missed the question. Could you repeat it?
Oh, just the question's about crafting. Why is it so hard to craft a single deck that beats both it says Warlocks and Hunters, but in particular, I think it's like the Zoo and Hunter, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. What elements of both, make it kind of difficult, or maybe there's some conflicting elements, right? That it's weak against. Each of those classes are weak against. That it's so difficult to build a deck that's versatile enough to beat it.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I've said this a lot on stream, but the reason why it's difficult to beat both of them is because they play differently. Like, if the question is, can I build a deck that can beat Hunter, or can I build a deck that can beat Warlock, Zoo? The answer is absolutely. But to beat both of them is tough because they come at you at different angles. So,
We lost Trump there.
No.
Right when he was getting deep into his explanation too. Damn it. Okay, there he is. He's back. Trump, you back?
oh, did I completely? How much of that was?
Maybe the last 20
They come
seconds.
from 2 different angles.
Yeah, come from 2 different angles. You're just getting getting into the meat of it there. Start your video real quick. There we go.
Okay. They come at 2 different angles, which is why it's difficult to beat both. But like Reynad suggested, Ancient Watcher Druid might be a good place to start your search.
Okay. Let's see. All right, RS, we're going to take maybe 2 more. RS Word of Wind. He asks, currently Mage is considered to be the strongest class in Arena, yet it's being one of the weakest in Constructed. Any ideas how this can be balanced?
I said in the Reddit AMA thing that I did yesterday that I think 3-mana Polymorph would be one place to start. Just like a slight buff they could give it that would give it a pretty strong, unique effect. But probably needs a little more than that even. I don't know. It's like it's so close. It just needs a little bit of something. I don't know what that has to be though, besides the polymorph thing.
Trump.
I think there's a bigger overarching issue with it, which is that there are so many mage class cards that are bad. And I'm
Yeah.
going to say bad in quotes because, like, for a time, the Freeze Mage deck ran a lot of the cards that I considered bad, like Frost Nova, Cone of Cold, Ice Block, Ice Barrier to some extent. But they're bad cards and they have no synergy with each other. And like, there's some synergy in that you play the Kirin Mage and you play Secret for free, and then you play the Ethereal Arcanist, but that's really sketchy. So there are just so many cards that are like on their own not good. Ethereal Arcanist, which is not mage cards, but might as well be. All the secrets, the Icelands, the Frost Nova is just the mirror image, kind of. Um,
I kind of wish they,
Pyroclast to an extent. There's just so many cards that aren't good
They're like,
enough.
there are some super good cards, and then there are a lot of bad cards. I guess is what you're saying, with
Yeah,
the
that's fair to
mage deck.
say.
Reynad, you're about to say something?
yeah, I wish they'd revert the nerfs to all the freeze cards because I
Yeah, I
thought
do
that
too.
they literally gave their ladder. They gave it 3 days before they nerfed it. Like it got popular on Recful's stream, like the old Blizzard Frost Nova giant mage deck.
Yeah.
That deck was really cool, and people were already beating it on ladder at high ranks after 3 days. But just because it got really popular, Blizzard had this knee jerk reaction, and they nerfed like 4 cards. And now that's like a really cool archetype that just isn't in the game anymore. Like, I've tried playing it after the nerfs; it's really bad.
Yeah,
But if
I
they
have
just
to.
like I don't know, if they just like reverted those nerfs, gave us 2 mana Frost Nova, 5 mana Blizzard, all that stuff again, and I think that's fine. He, like it doesn't have Pyroblast anymore either, so that alone should balance it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the 5 mana Blizzard, I think, is totally. I mean, I don't see why they don't do that because Blizzard right now is completely worthless. Even if it was decent, with the freeze mechanic, because it's at 6 and you have Flame Strike at 7. So why would you, put both of them in your deck, right?
Yeah, I mean it's sort of also the arena test too. Like Blizzard, like almost all area of effect is good in arena, but Blizzard's like one card that costs even too much, even for arena. It's like if
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
that much there, then yeah, it could be 5. And yeah,
Yeah, maybe keep Nova at 3 and then like Cone and Blizzard back to what it was. I think would be fine. I think that'd be pretty good. Yeah, I loved it too. I loved that archetype too. I mean, was it unfun? Yeah, maybe it was unfun, but at the higher levels, I felt like it was this added dynamic that we just don't have anymore. And it's a mechanic, a freeze mechanic that's just completely gone from the game. And I know they want it in the game, otherwise there wouldn't be cards that would do it. Like even like the Frost Elemental, right? It's never used either. So they definitely want the freeze mechanic somewhere. Okay, fake SE2. What do you guys think about Swiss format? I know, Reynad, you've had a lot of MTG experience, so what do you think about the Swiss format for non-invitational tournaments in Hearthstone? The Swiss format has been used a lot in MTG tournaments because it reduces the influence of RNG by giving each player more games to play, so why not use it here as well? And do you think Hearthstone needs more big open tournaments in general?
I absolutely do, and that Swiss format is being implemented. From what I understand, it's being used at DreamHack. They're using this at that. It's like 7 rounds, and they're also using it at the like the EU versus China like 2p.com thing that's coming up. That thing with the $11,000 prize pool.
Yeah.
So they're both using that Swiss format, I think. And I think it's going to kind of become the standard. I mean, there's other ways to do it, but if you're trying to have a tournament with like 128 players or something, I think it's like the only system I know of at least that works. One thing that is important though, I think, if you're gonna have a 7 round tournament, you can't make it best of one because sometimes you just get Unleash the Hounds, and you shouldn't be eliminated from top 8 contention because it's dogs. Like it's not okay. So
Yeah.
I think it should be best of 3 in Swiss, and I mean that would still have you have like 40, 50 minute rounds just like in Magic, which is fine.
Yeah. Trump, what do you think of Swiss? Well, for those of you, let me explain Swiss a little bit. So for those of you that don't know Swiss, it's not like it's a non-elimination type of tournament format. So it's not single elimination, not double elimination. It's closer to what you would see in something like a group format where, you play X number of matches. Like Swiss can be variable too as to what the rules are, but for the most part, you play X number of matches, and then based on your record or a point system or that sort of thing, it kind of determines who kind of moves on to more of a traditional bracket, that sort of thing. So Trump, what are your thoughts on Swiss?
I think in an ideal world, Swiss would just be the format, but it takes a long time is all.
It does, yeah.
So there's just pros and cons to every single format. The pro of Swiss is that it's probably the way to best tell who's the best, especially if you make best of 3 Swiss. But the con of it is that it takes a major amount of time. So in order to not take that amount of time, you sometimes have to compromise the system
Yeah.
to make it quicker. That's all.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good, and you're going to see it at DreamHack, like Reynad said. DreamHack, from the SC2, just seeing that I've been following for a long time and part of. They've come up with a really good system where it's like 2 rounds of groups, so that the very first, let's say 128, right? You'll have all those, what is it, 32 groups of 4. And then, based on the top 2 of those groups, they move on to another round of groups. And then from there, they move into, I think, a bracket of 16 or something like that. So I think we'll probably see the same thing at DreamHack Bucharest. And yeah, I agree. It's a really good system. It's probably the best one that I know of right now in any of the large tournaments. And I guess to finish off this guy's question, what do you think about open tournaments?
Why
Trump.
not?
Yeah, that's true. Trump, what do you think?
Of course.
Or okay, so here, no, yeah, I mean it's an obvious question. How about this? Why do you think there's been so many invitationals versus open tournaments to this point? Trump.
To this point, it's been more. There's been a mix of both, I think. It's just that I mean, stating the obvious, if you invite people who are popular, then your tournament gets more views.
Right.
And there have also been more open tournaments, and I think more recently there have been more open tournaments, so that's great. I think there should always be a mix of both, and perhaps there should be a mix of both in the same tournament where you do both, basically.
Right.
You have some amount of open, you have some amount of infights, etc. You can have a lot of different ways to do it.
Yeah. I think NESL, I kind of like how NESL does it right now with their King of the Hill thing, because they invite one challenger on, and then one person is the winner of an open tournament, and then there's the reigning king. And those like the 3 players that they broadcast in the stream. But it's, I mean, yeah, I think I agree with Trump. It's good to have a mix of both. I think that if you want to play open tournaments, there's tons of them that you can play in right now, and if invitationals bring in the numbers, and that's like the thing that like the people in esports, like with the money to like pay for a high production tournament right now, like they're using like Hearthstone's popularity as a way to just like raise brand awareness. And I mean that's good. Like that's what a company is supposed to do. And I mean that's why, just like Trump said, you invite the popular players, you get more views. It's just it's a very like pragmatic approach. So I mean, yeah, there's a mix of both, and there should be a mix of both. But I think that the what it's really missing right now is like some sort of big open type of system, because right now if you're playing for like $90 and or like a Razer mouse, it's not really worth 9 hours of your life to play a tournament for that. So like there needs to be some sort of like actual open tournament like worth playing, something.
Oh my
that
gosh, I got some good news.
Okay.
I got some good news right now. We have the biggest open tournament field that's just recently been announced. It's the Blizzard Ladder, where they've said that the top 16-ish, I believe, every season get invited to some big tournament. And I think that's a really good system.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's like
that is the biggest open tournament possible. That is true, Trump. That is absolutely true. It's a kind of Swiss system too, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It'd be nice to not like wait 12 months for the event though.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
a year.
I mentioned that to some of the
Yeah, kind of like maybe like a W. I don't know. I don't know enough about StarCraft, but WCS sort of something like that maybe. Or
yeah, they have seasons, right? In WCS they have like these 3 seasons that lead up to the BlizzCon, which is
Oh,
the World Championship or something, that sort of thing.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it'd be nice to have little checkpoints, like you said, to keep us going, right? Instead of us just like, oh man, just really grinding through what is it, 7 months, 6 months until BlizzCon, and then
Okay, that much is true. That is a very long haul, but
yeah,
that general
definitely.
basis is a good start.
Yeah, and just I guess to follow up your point, Reynad, DreamHack Bucharest is pretty much that tournament you're talking about, right? It's going to be the first big one that's open, and should be a great time to see a lot of the good players and a lot of the players that are not known but are very very good too. Maybe somebody makes a name for themselves, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I love
That'd
the
be cool.
format they have there. I really,
Yeah,
really want to do well in that one.
yeah. Oh, so you're going, and Trump, are you going
Just
to Bucharest?
Oh, it's too far away.
Okay, too much traveling for the Trumpster. Okay, but I think that's going to be it for the questions today, guys. So thanks for running in. A bunch of questions. I wish I could have gotten to all of them, but unfortunately we don't have time for it. But we'll continue doing it. We'll always take Reddit questions, guys, no matter if we have sub questions or not. And I think today kind of went well. And keep upvoting them. Just keep upvoting them and posting them. But let's wrap up the show. Pleasure having you on again, Reynad. It's a good time. It's always really
thanks
good
for
discussions with you, man. But
thanks.
you want to do some shout outs, thank yous at this point?
Um, Thanks to HyperX, Phoenix, iBuyPower, all my sponsors. Thanks to all my fans. I mean, everyone watching. You guys are awesome. And yeah, hopefully Gara and I both do well in Bucharest. Hopefully you guys will watch that and cheer us on. I think it's gonna be broadcast, right?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. It's DreamHack. So for those of you not in the esports scene, StarCraft 2 or any of those, any of that kind of scene, DreamHack's a big event. So like really big event. Should be great stage for Hearthstone. Any update on the team? Actually, I didn't even get a chance to ask you, Reynad. I know,
Oh,
everybody knows you're forming a team, and
mhm.
any update on it?
Yes. Well, I mean, I announced the main roster.
Yeah.
I'm trying to organize a tournament for the first time, which I'm very bad at because it's my first time. But basically that's gonna coincide with like the website launch and all that, and it's basically the four of us right now, Reckful, Tides of Time, me, and Gara. We're gonna start being at all these big events like DreamHack. Ideally, right now I can only afford to fly out Gara because he's nearby. He's in Germany right now, so it'll just be me and Gara there, not Reckful and Tides. But hopefully, if the website and all that takes off, this will be like the first salaried Hearthstone team, and you can start seeing us
Nice.
at all these big events and stuff. And yeah, looking at like content that these guys make on the website, and I'll make for the website. So yeah.
Yeah, exciting, man. Big news. I mean, some big things coming up then.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to like say too much before it's all
It's an
actually
announcement of an announcement, dude. it's
exactly.
it's common in esports. All right, great, man. Trump, want to do some shout outs, thank yous?
Yeah, sure. Shout out to DreamHack Bucharest. Way to
Yeah.
represent the Hearthstone. Create some
Mm-hmm.
good tournaments. Let's see. And shout out to Kalento, whose decks we talked about
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Big props to him on achieving rank 1 legend.
He's so
US and
good, man.
EU, very impressive. And
So
I hear right now he's taking on Asia also for the triple rank 1
good.
legend
Oh,
action.
triple crown. Nice. Has anybody done that before? Anybody had the triple crown #1 rank in all the servers?
No, it's been like NA and EU a couple times, but
Yeah. It's
never.
hard to get it all in, you only have 30 days. So,
Yeah, Asia's also very. I mean, the amount of zoo on Asia is like, my God.
oh my god. Right, right. Okay. Trump, any more? Any more shout outs?
No.
Okay. I'll round things out by big thanks to you guys. Again, Reynad for coming on, Trump for doing this with me each and every week, you guys for watching, Kalento too for letting us check out his deck, as well as life coaches. And tune in next week, guys. We're going to have a developer, maybe Eric Dodds, maybe Ben. I'm not sure which one, but we're going to have him for an hour. So get ready for some good questions. It's not going to be these super quick Blizzard interviews that we've had in the past. We'll get a chance to maybe dig into some discussion. And so tune in next Thursday, same time, same place for Value Town. Check these guys out on Twitter, or all of us out at ChanManV, at TrumpSC, and at Andre Canuck, right?
Yanu. Why?
Yanuk, sorry, why Yanuk?
Just search
Why
Reynad. It'll,
Canuck?
it'll
I'm
come
gonna
up.
talk like like a Canadian or something. Yeah, search for Reynad. I think it comes up now. And of course, these guys streams. They're like the top streamers. So twitch.tv/Trump S. Is it Trump SC? It's Trump SC, right? The Twitch.
Yep.
And twitch.tv/Reynad27.
Reynad 27.
Why has it got 27 on it? Was there already a Reynad out there?
There was 3 years ago when I
Oh
made
my
the
God.
account, and
Oh,
I mean I
man.
can switch it because I'm partnered to Reynad, but
Yeah.
if I do that, then anyone that has it bookmarked can't go to it. So like,
I'm
it's the
sure
same
they'll
reason.
find it,
That's- yeah.
Reynad. I'm sure they'll find it. Okay. Yeah, true. But okay, yeah, go ahead and find us there, and then you can check out the VODs for Value Town. This one will be posted shortly after youtube.com/ChanManV, and I'll tweet it and all that good stuff. You guys will hopefully find it. But okay, that's gonna be it for Value Town this week. So for Trump, Reynad, and ChanManV, we'll see you next time. Later.